Okay, well, next I want to introduce Clem Harris, who is hosting our N-Scale modeling segment. But before Clem starts, I want to show our sponsors video for National Capital Trains.
National Capital Trains is the largest supplier of N-scale modeling products in the state of Virginia. We have been in business since 1989. We carry a full line of modeling products, specializing in N and HON3 scales. We carry a large selection of competitively priced high-quality N-scale products from Atlas, Bachmann, Digitrax, Intermountain, Cato, Microtrains, NCE, Pico, Rapido, Soundtrax, as well as Brass. For foreign railroad train aficionados, we offer a wide selection of Japanese and European prototype trains. We are located 20 miles from Washington, D.C. in Springfield, Virginia. We are a short 7-minute drive off Interstate 95. Stop in and see us for the best in N-scale. We also have online ordering on our website, including great prices and expert advice. Call us for your N-scale modeling needs and advice. Use the QR code to visit our website. We look forward to serving you.
And now I want to introduce Clem Harris, who is here with a video, I believe, tonight. So if we could play Clem's video, please.
This is Clem Harris, your N-Scale host for Nutrax Modeling. And for the month of June, this is going to be kind of a mixed bag. I'm kind of in between some projects, and I'll talk to you a little bit later in this segment about some of the why on where that's at. But first, I wanted to spend some time and kind of outline where the next few segments are going to go for that I'll be sharing with everybody. Very thankfully, I've got some vacation time scheduled this summer, and I'm looking forward to the Evanston Fremo event in N-Scale. This gathering will have the most modules put together in Fremo layout, and we'll be able to run trains over the period of a couple of days. And I wanted to share with you my first impressions of Fremo. There's also going to be T-Track there, and I wanted to share with you the first impressions that I have of T-Track. And then for those that may not know, I'm actually part of an N-Track club in Albuquerque, New Mexico, the N-Scale Rail Runners. And so I'm somewhat familiar with N-Track and its ins and outs, but I'd like to kind of talk about over the next 3 segments the differences, the similarities and the differences in all 3 types of modules and how they work and what the pros and cons of those are. And I'm really looking forward to sharing the experience of Evanston with you. Part of that trip, I get to, it's going to be a boys' trip for my son and I. My son is 15, and he's a little bit of a chip off the old block when it comes to modeling and wanting to do N-scale stuff. So I'm looking forward to sharing that time with him and spending a few days running N-scale around the large Fremo layout up there. So as we move forward, those will be the next couple of segments. And again, like I said, the similarities and the differences between everything and some of the pros and cons. But I actually wanted to spend this month's segment talking about something that impacts all of us as modelers and what happens when you lose your drive or your interest in the hobby. And I'm not talking about the long term where you just give up completely and you just like, hey, I'm done with this altogether. I'm talking about the short term, and I'll talk to you and kind of have an open heart-to-heart session with you on the things that help me, hurt me, so in the hobby, and some of the things that I find that are that lead to this losing interest for a while. In my introduction early this year, one of the things that I talked about is that my daytime job is the railroad. I'm a locomotive engineer. I've done that for the last 28 years now. And part of being a railroader plus being involved in a hobby that models what I do for a living, sometimes I find for myself it gets to be a little bit too close to home, a little too much, and there's not quite enough separation. So I have an extra layer that I have to deal with at times when I find that the railroad is a little bit more stressful or there's more things going on where I just have to stop and put things down for a while. And I've kind of been in that place since I finished up the 9653, and have kind of talked about that process and shared with you how I did it, all the renumbering and the sound and everything. I find for myself one of the things that helps me, one of the biggest draws for me to be involved in the hobby is to have something to do with my hands. To when I have to sit and process and work through some of the problems that I have to deal with as a union officer, and I have to kind of think through where things are at. Sometimes it's nice to be able to sit down and really pick at a project, and instead of just sitting in a rocking chair and rocking back and forth and rubbing a hole in the floor in a rocking chair, I actually have something to show for the time that I've spent being worried, for lack of better description, about something going on. One of the biggest draws for me for modeling is the impact that it has on my mental health also. As we all, as life goes on, we have more and more things that go on. We have to learn how to process those things, and that's all very important. But sometimes having that downtime to really be able to sit and think through things. For me, again, the same thing like dealing with various issues with work and stuff, is that having that downtime of being able to think and process and understand. And sometimes when things are a little bit, when there's a lot more going on in life, sometimes it's easier just to say, hey, stop, let's put this down for a few minutes and let's worry about what's at hand. And I find that this funk kind of comes and goes sometimes. I find personally that funk comes and goes quite a bit more during the summer, especially when you're trying to hang out with friends, trying to do barbecues, trying to do various activities like, again, going to Evanston next month. Those things all kind of factor into being in that funk. And oddly enough, Evanston, of all things, is one of the things that's helping to pull me out of this funk right now of not really wanting to mess with anything, because now I'm getting excited thinking about how large that layout's going to be. And hey, I'll get to be able to run longer trains, and I want my stuff to run well and run right, as you've seen in my previous presentations. I'm pretty particular about that. So I've been going through and updating decoder firmware in my ESU decoders. I've been making sure some of the cars that I'm going to take with us roll well and have good wheels under them. Just little stuff like that. I find too, as I finish up a project, say like the 9653, sometimes I find that excitement and that buildup that gets you to complete a really neat project like that. Sometimes the afterword of just being able to sit down for a little bit and go, you know what, I don't want to mess with this. I just did something really cool, and I want to enjoy that for a while. It's interesting to me how much the hobby is actually a big help, and is kind of helps me process the world around me. And I can sit down and I can look back at some of the projects I've done and stop and think about, like, hey, I had this going on in life when I worked on this particular engine. And being able to have an oddball mile marker of sorts in life like that and be able to say, hey, these are, I was here when I did this, and being able to look back and say, hey, this is the progress I've made. Sometimes that's a big help, and that helps me get motivated again also. There's a lot of different answers to this question of what causes modelers funk and what causes people to lose interest in their hobbies for a short while. Another plus for me is I'm very fortunate to have a large network of friends in the hobby that all are very solid, experienced modelers. And we don't always, very thankfully, we don't always lose interest at the same time. And so as I see others working on their projects and they share, hey, I did such and such with this engine, or hey, I painted this car and did such and such with this. For me, that also starts to build interest too. When I see others making progress in the hobby, it gets me mentally back on track and go, oh, hey, wait, I see, I was working on this. Let me get going on this again. I'm thankful for those friends, because those friends, so many things in life, and especially as I'm getting a little bit older, we've spent time, we've put value on our mental health as a family, and as individuals in my home, and being able to have something to be able to decompress and enjoy, hands down, makes the hobby just incredible. Being able to process, being able to think, being able to work through various issues and have something tangible to show for your time is always huge to me. And the question I guess I would like to leave everybody with today is, what do you do when you find yourself in that funk where you don't have that spark, you don't have that interest in the hobby? What things do you do that help you get your interest going and help you get your drive going? What things compete for your time in the hobby? I know for me, I have a lot of extracurricular activities, doing stuff in the union, having kind of a weird oddball schedule with the railroad, plus trying to be a husband, be a father, trying to take care of my family and the various issues that we all have in life. Those things all impact and affect that. But the question being, what do you do that helps you get your spark, helps you get your interest back, helps you get that, get connected again, where you get excited about, hey, I'm working on this project. Thank you for your time and consideration today. And I know this is kind of an oddball piece, but I do look forward to sharing with you over the next couple of months the differences with N-Track, T-Track, and Fremo, and again, those first impressions that I'll be able to have of T-Track and Fremo. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great evening.
Well, Clem, thank you so very much. I really do appreciate your help, and your words are very accurate. I think all of us go through those kinds of ups and downs in the hobby, and it's an interesting discussion that we've had. Thank you.